Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Gyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutaha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Shakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Shute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivastadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. I'd like to welcome all of you all back today for the morning Bhagavatam class. So today we're going to be talking about satsang and how one should absorb oneself in satsang and how one can get actually the full benefit of association of devotees, sadhu sangha, satsanga. So there was once a disciple who went to his guru and told him that he asked him rather that why don't I get the full benefit of satsang? And when I hear classes or when I attend, lectures, but somehow I'm not getting the full benefit of satsang. This guru was a little out of the box type of guru. He told him, go and get a pot of liquor. So this disciple was a little bewildered. He said, what do you mean by pot of liquor? He said, go and just do what I said. So the disciple goes and gets one pot of liquor. And the guru tells him, now drink it. But make sure that not a drop goes inside your throat. Now the disciple is bewildered. How do I drink without anything going inside my throat? So the disciple, he drank a little bit and spitted it out. And then drank a little bit more and spitted it out. And he finished the whole bottle. Then the guru asked him, are you drunk? The disciple said, I didn't even drink one drop. How can I be drunk? But the bottle is over. So the guru told him, this is exactly how we experience satsang. We drink from top, but we don't allow it to enter us and become a part of our behavior. So we only hear from our ears, but not from the core of our hearts. Satsang has its complete benefit when there is a lifestyle and a mindset that is conducive for satsang to have full benefit. So today we're just going to discuss that. What is that mindset that is conducive for satsang to have full benefit for us? Mangoes are very tasty, isn't it? We're just talking today morning about mangoes. Those who are in America, they miss mangoes, isn't it? One of the one of the few reasons why not to stay in America. So mangoes are very tasty, but if you reach a mango orchard during the non-mango season, if you reach during the wrong season, you'll be very disappointed. So basically, you've heard a lot about the taste of mangoes, but if you reach it during the wrong season, the tree will not give it fruit. The tree gives fruit only in the correct season. Similarly, satsang is like a mango orchard. It flowers and fruits only with the season of faith. So if you go to satsang faithfully and prescribe the rules that are mentioned, then the mango will come. And what is a mango? The mango is the form of gyan, knowledge, and realization of that gyan. So if you faithfully attend satsang and follow the prescribed rules, then you get knowledge. And so the ultimate goal is not to get the fruit. So now there are two types of mangoes. There is a green mango and there's a ripe mango, isn't it? So if you get the green mango, it has no juice, it has no sweetness. Sweetness comes only when it becomes a ripe mango. So the knowledge, so essentially when you come to satsang, you get knowledge immediately, you get gyan. But that knowledge becomes sweet and juicy after you develop deep love for the Supreme Lord. That's when it actually becomes ripe. That's when it actually becomes very deep and satisfying. So, when we come in the association of devotees, initially we just hear, but our hearts are not really ripened. They are not in the stage where it can bear fruit. So, that knowledge that you gain is almost like a unripe mango. It's mango only, but it's not ripe. It's green mango. At best, it can become pickle, which is a little bit sour, which is a little spicy, But for it to actually become tasty and sweet, it takes time. It takes time. Just a few days back, I was with His Grace Radha Gopinath Prabhu, and we were having a discussion. And we both, fortunately, we are reading the exact same book. And we were reading one of Shivram Maharaj's books. And when, we were surprised that we were reading the same book. And then we went solid deeply into that discussion, what that book is saying. And, it's a very, very deeply contemplative book. And as we were discussing that particular book, both of us, we were saying that if we had found this book 15 years back, we would not have relished it the way we are relishing it today. This book, at this point in our life, is really making sense. But if 15 years back I got the same book, I would not have made a head or tail out of it. I would not have relished it so much. So all of us, we are at different stages of our own development spiritually. Some of us are not yet having flower or fruit. Mango tree is growing, the tree of bhakti is growing, but season of fruits and flowers has not yet come. We're still in a phase where only leaves are there, basically. But some of us have actually started experiencing flowering season. Not yet fruits, but at least flowers are visible. So at least hope is there that someday fruit will come. And some of us, we have developed fruit, but it's still unripe fruit. And then some of us have gone ahead and actually develop a ripened fruit, which is sweet and which is tasty. According to what stage we are in, we'll experience khatha. So in one class, there can be 15 different people at 15 different stages of development of the devotion. And the understanding of that class will be 15 different understandings. So after the class, you ask somebody, what did you learn? They will learn something else only. What you learned is something else only. Same class, same content, but the depth and the realization is different according to what stage of development you are in currently. This is what Bhakti Ras is. So the difference between Bhakti Ras and Vishaya Ras is that Vishaya Ras never satisfy you. Vishaya Ras means taste for material enjoyment. Vishaya Ras has no ability to satisfy you. I'll give you some examples. If you buy a brand new car, how long do you enjoy the car? 1 day, 2 days. After a few days, it becomes boring, isn't it? It's not the same joyful experience that you had on the first day when you bought the car, isn't it? So, somewhere, Vishayaras, no matter how much you invest in it, no matter how much you try to enjoy, there's a limit of how much you can enjoy. Beyond that, it is not going to satisfy you. You need it more and more and more and more. Now, how much money gives you joy? Tell me. Is there a particular number that says, now I'm satisfied? Many people think that, I think if we get 10 lakhs, we'll be happy in life. They get it. Then they start thinking, I think if we get 50 lakhs, we'll be really settled, And then they get it. And they think, I think if we get 1 crore, we'll really be happy in life, And they get it. And they think now that 1 crore is gone, I'm buying one house only. I need at least 1 more crore to be happy in life. At no stage you will come to a point where you say, I am satisfied now. That's how Vishaya Ras is. But if you think Bhakti Ras is anything different, you're wrong. Bhakti Ras also does not lead to satisfaction. In fact, Bhakti Ras has a dual effect. It causes satisfaction on one hand, but it also causes constant thirst on the other hand. So basically, along with long-term satisfaction, Bhakti Ras also leads to long-term dissatisfaction, which is a very unique characteristics of Bhakti Ras. Vishaya Ras does not lead to even short-term satisfaction. What to speak of long-term satisfaction? Bhakti Ras does lead to long-term satisfaction, but it also leads to long-term dissatisfaction. How do you understand this? I'll give you an example. If you're thirsty, we drink 1 glass of water and our thirst gets quenched, right? You don't want more at that point in time. But for a fish living in water, how much water is enough water? The fish, if you ask the fish, are you satisfied with water? The fish will say, no. I need constant water. I need constant supply of water. And I want to live in water only. That's the nature of fish, isn't it? So, bhakti, it causes you satisfaction, but at the same time, it causes you dissatisfaction. So, no one who is a great devotee will ever say, I am happy. They will always say, I am not God Krishna. I am hungering for Krishna. You will never find Goswami saying, I found Krishna. And they're sitting peacefully. They're always running. Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? The gopis of Vrindavan, they have Krishna in their life. They're still feeling, I'm missing Krishna, isn't it? So this is the nature of Bhakti Ras. So at the same time, there is a deep sense of satisfaction also these great souls have. So it's like simultaneously being satisfied and simultaneously being dissatisfied. The fish in the water is satisfied, but the fish in the water is never satisfied with the quantity of water. It always wants more and more and more, constant supply of water, basically. So in bhakti, losing is a very important word in the concept of bhakti. Losers get God faster. Those who are losers, they get access to God much faster than those who are winners in life. You know, if you take Srimad Bhagavatam, the entire Srimad Bhagavatam is filled with stories of losers. All the losers in the world are in the Bhagavatam. Dhruva Maharaj is a loser. Narad Muni is a loser. Ambarish Maharaj is a loser. Chitraketu Maharaj is a loser. Vasudev, father of Krishna, is a loser. Every single person whose story is there in the pages of Bhagavatam are all losers. So you might say, we are also losers. How we are not there in the Bhagavatam? The only difference between us and these losers in the Bhagavatam is that they know how to handle loss. They can experience Krishna in their loss. They can experience, so they know how to intertwine, the presence of the Lord in all their losses in life. So all the losses in their life, they have been turning points in these people's lives. Whenever they have lost, they have taken shelter of Krishna even more. And therefore, they are there in the pages of Bhagavatam. And whenever we have lost, we have not really taken shelter of Krishna in the Bhagavatam, enough. And therefore, our name is not in the Bhagavatam. That's the difference. That's the difference between us and these people. And the other difference between other losers and devotee losers is that they don't allow their ego to disturb them. When somebody loses, um, they get very disturbed, isn't it? And they think that I have lost. It's all about them, basically. It's all about their own greatness, essentially. The Lord does a very unique thing. He reduces the inferiority of small people as well as the superiority of proud people. I'll repeat this. The Supreme Lord reduces the inferiority of small people and the superiority of big people, of proud people. So what does it mean? Actually, both kind of people have the same problem. Inferiority and superiority, both are problems of the ego. If you feel that I am nothing, that's also ego. And if you feel that I am everything, that's also ego. So those who say that I am nothing, it is not possible only for you to be nothing because you are a part and parcel of God. So if you say I am nothing, then somewhere there is an ego associated with it. So the Supreme Lord, what he does is those who actually feel they're nothing, he shows them that they're something. And those who feel that they are something, he shows them that they are nothing. That's what the whole Bhagavatam is. So those who are superior think they are very proud, Krishna brings down their pride. And those who think they are nothing, he elevates their ego. Like for example, if you look at the way Krishna walked around in Mathura, with all his friends, he was walking around in Mathura, right? And he met different people. And the way he dealt with these different people is very interesting. He met Kubja, who was feeling, I'm nothing, I'm inferior. What he did with her, he made her the most beautiful person in the world. He's completely elevated her to another level. In fact, he told her that he's going to come and spend time with her, isn't it? And then there was one, a washerman there who felt, I am the Dhobi of Kamsa, the king. It's very interesting that even a washerman can be proud. Even a watchman can be proud. I am the washerman of Kamsa. What an interesting thing, isn't it? This is the nature of the ego. The nature of the ego is that you don't need a reason to be proud. You will find some reason. You are nothing also, you will find some reason to be proud. In a 2000 square feet house, you yourself live in 200 square feet only. And in the remaining 1800 square feet, your ego lives. Isn't it? So technically, we need so small a space, but our ego needs a lot of space, basically. That's the nature of the false ego. So bhakti is the science of leaving our egos behind and serving Guru. So in the path of devotion, one of the first things that we are taught is that your enemy is inside you only. So unless you deal with that ego which is inside you, you really can't deal with all the enemies that is outside you. So a proud person, his vessel is so full of himself that if someone is giving nectar, he doesn't have place to hold it. He doesn't have place to store it, basically. How will he assimilate the Guru's teachings? How will he assimilate the Guru's knowledge? And therefore, if you actually notice, there are many people who come to satsang programs, but they can't listen to anything. Nothing goes inside because there is a dialogue going on inside already. There is a lot going on inside. I don't know if you all have experienced this. There are some people, you tell them, can you please do this? It doesn't register only. You should tell the same thing 2 or 3 times. Oh, can you please do this? Because that person is already doing, inside there is something going on, Inside there is so much of chatter going on that they cannot listen only. So when somebody who's so full of himself, somebody who's so full thinking that I am so great, comes and sits under the feet of a guru and listens, what will they listen? What will they understand? What will go in? So nothing much really goes in such a situation. And therefore, being full of pride is one of the obstacles in being able to receive Guru Kripa and Guru Upadesh. So the Guru Kripa and Guru Upadesh are available to everybody, but not everybody can receive them. And therefore, if you see, instructions are same to everybody, but the way you understand and receive the instruction is different. The way you assimilate the instruction is very different, basically. And therefore, when the Supreme Lord comes himself, he teaches us through his own example how it is important to keep your pride aside and take shelter of a guru and follow the instructions of a guru. Like when Lord Ram goes to pick up that bow of Lord Shiva Dhanush, the name of Shiva Dhanush called Pinaka. So when Lord Ram goes to pick up that Shiva Dhanush, he first asks Vishwamitra Muni permission, his guru permission to pick it up. And as soon as he touches the bow with the permission of Vishwamitra Muni, he is able to pick up the bow. And the interpretation that the Acharyas gave is that according to Lord Ram, because Vishwamitra Muni gave him the blessings and gave him the permission, the bow became light because of Guru Kripa. And he was able to pick it up. So Ram gave the entire credit to his Guru. When the entire war gets over, after the war, when Ram comes back, Kaushalya asks him, how did you manage to, cross over such a massive army of Ravan? Lord Ram says 2 things. He says, I had a good boat. The Vanaras, all my friends, they were like a very good boat. And the blessings of my Guru, Vashishta, was an oar. I used the boat and the oars to cross the ocean of Ravan's army. He didn't say, I did it. He didn't say, nothing. It was nothing. I managed it. He didn't show anything about himself. He gave the entire credit to the Vanaras and he gave the entire credit to his Guru. And that is the whole idea behind understanding, Guru Kripa. So with the mercy of the spiritual master, one can destroy the moha or the illusion in one's life. And when we have the mercy of the spiritual master, then it is possible for us to, be able to deal with all the negative energies that we have with us. When Hanumanji burnt Lanka and came back, there's a very interesting discussion by one of the acharyas about why Hanuman burned Lanka. It is said Hanuman tried his best to teach Ravan. So if you notice, the first part of Hanuman being in Lanka when he's in front of Ravan is that he gives instructions. He tells Ravan that he's wrong. He gives him very good gyan. He gives him very very wise words of knowledge. But Hanumanji sees that this fellow, he's not going to listen. He's not going to understand by this kind of knowledge. So Hanumanji is like a doctor. So the doctor has different types of treatments for different levels of disease. So when a doctor sees that by giving advice, now giving dietary prescriptions, giving some kind of recommendation, it doesn't work, then the doctor has to administer a very serious type of medicine. And this medicine for the disease that Ravan has, the only medicine that is prescribed for the disease that Ravan has is if gold is burnt very nicely, and the ashes of gold being burnt nicely, that is the treatment for this disease. And therefore Hanumanji burned Lanka. And that treatment worked to some extent. And the illusion that Ravan had that he is invincible, that went away. All of us, when we are born, we are given two things. All of us, from the time we are born, we are given two things. One is a lens and one is a mirror. We are all born with a lens and a mirror. But till we come in touch with the Guru, till we come in touch with the bona fide spiritual master, with the Guru, we don't know how to use the lens and how to use the mirror. The mirror is supposed to be used to see yourself, and the lens is supposed to be used to see others. Ideally, when you look in the mirror, you're supposed to see your own faults. And when you look through the lenses, you're supposed to see good in others. But unfortunately, all our life, we do the opposite. When we look in the mirror, we see good in ourselves. Has anyone looked in the mirror and seen an ugly person staring back? Doesn't happen only. No matter how ugly you are, when you look at yourself in the mirror, you seem handsome. You seem beautiful. Is a mirror lying? The mirror is not lying. You are lying to yourself. And the lens is used to see good in others. But we use the lens expertly seeing faults in others. The role of the spiritual master is to reverse the two. The role of the spiritual master is to help us see good in others and to see faults in ourselves. The material world trains us to see faults in others and good in yourself. But when you come to the path of Krishna consciousness, you learn to use the mirror for the purpose for which it is made and use the lens for the purpose for which it is made. The moment you use the lens for finding faults in other people, that's when your devotion goes down and your ego goes up. And the moment you use the mirror to see good in yourself and absolutely no fault in yourself, that's when your ego goes up. The moment you come to the path of Krishna consciousness and you hear from a good teacher, they teach you to first look for faults in yourself. And the way they teach you to look for faults in yourself is a very interesting way. The spiritual master, the teacher, does not teach you to find faults in yourself by making you feel inferior, but making you feel that you're nothing. But what they do is that they help you focus on something so great, something so wonderful and powerful that you realize you're actually nothing. When Brahma, this whole Brahma Vimohan Leela happens. And after the entire Brahma Vimohan Leela, Brahma comes to a very interesting conclusion. He says, my dear Lord, I have understood that I understand nothing. Very interesting conclusion, right? When the creator of the universe is saying, I understood that I actually understand nothing. This is where Krishna Leela comes in picture. One time in Vrindavan, Krishna was performing his pastimes and he was playing a game of hide and seek. And Krishna decided to hide and he asked all his friends to find him. Now imagine if Krishna decides to hide, how can anyone find him? Isn't it? It's impossible to find Krishna when he decides to hide, isn't it? But the amazing thing is that the friends in few minutes they found him. Krishna was shocked. He was saying, the yogis are trying to find me for centuries together. They have not found me. How come you boys have found me so quickly? And the boys, they gave a very beautiful answer. They said, we saw that there are no rain clouds, but we saw the peacocks are, dancing and singing in ecstasy. We just saw the direction in which the peacocks were looking and we found you. They thought, Krishna's body, which is Sham Varna, to be like a rain cloud. And they mistook that to be rain cloud and they started singing. And the Acharyas give a very beautiful understanding of this story. They say, if you want to find Krishna, you will find him in the voice of his devotees. Simply hear the voice of his devotee, you will find Krishna there. So we are trying to find Krishna, but in the voice of the spiritual master, the voice of the great devotees, Krishna is hidden. You just look in the direction in which the voice comes from, and you hear that voice, you will find Krishna easily, no matter how much he is hiding. So the spiritual master gives us the right vision and the right instructions. And when we follow that right vision and the right instructions, we will not only be able to overcome our attachments, but we will also be able to see Krishna. We will also be able to have experience, darshan of Krishna. And therefore, it is very, very important for us to connect with the spiritual master and allow the spiritual master to deal with our attachments and help us experience Krishna. And of course, the way the spiritual master does it sometimes is a little, different. When Hanumanji was in Lanka and he came across this demoness named Lankini who didn't allow him to enter Lanka. So, Hanumanji tells Lankini, see, I'm a monkey. I heard that there are, good fruits in Lanka. I've just come to experience some good fruits. I'll eat the fruits and I'll go back. Lankini said, you can't enter Lanka without Ravan's permission. Hanumanji said, see, I'm a monkey. Whether you give permission or no, once I decide, I'm going to do it. If you give me permission, I'll go quietly and come back. If you don't give me permission, I'm anyway going to go. This Lankini got really upset and she pushed Hanumanji like anything. And then Hanumanji realized this person is not going to understand my discussion. He jumped and gave one tight slap to Lankini. And with that one punch, Lankini fell down. And then when she got up, she suddenly had a flashback. She said, in my previous life, I was the watchman in Brahmaloka. In Satyaloka, she was a gatekeeper of Brahma. And when she was a gatekeeper of Brahma, she was very proud and arrogant. Gatekeepers tend to be proud and arrogant, for some reason. So she didn't allow anybody to, she was like really bullying people and very disturbing people, basically. So Brahma felt that this person has too much ego and doesn't deserve to be here in Brahmaloka. So Brahma cursed her that you will take birth as a demoness in Lanka. And he told her, when you are between people who have more ego than you, your ego will become humble. You will get humbled. Then when she came to Lanka, she realized what ego is. Because each one in Lanka has more ego than her, basically. So Lankini, so of course, she repented and she begged forgiveness from Brahma. And Brahmaji told her, you will remain in Lanka till the day a monkey comes and boxes you. And the day a Vanara punches you, that day you can come back. So Hanumanji, in one sense, gave Lankini a little association. This is what satsang is. Satsang is like a boxing match. Every time you come to satsang, one of your beliefs should get punched. Oh, some aspect of your ego must get a solid punch. Satsang is not meant for massaging your ego. Satsang is not meant for enhancing your ego. Satsang is meant for hitting at that place where it hurts the most. And only when your attachments are hit can you overcome those attachments. Right? I mean, we all come and hear, courses, Gita classes, hundreds of Bhagavatam classes, and still no transformation happens. And here Hanumanji gave one punch, and full Veda base got downloaded on her. Suddenly she got realization. Yeah, in one moment. That's the power of one moment of association of a pure devotee. And in that one moment, there is a complete awakening that happens. Provided you allow that person to box you. The problem with us is that we come with full coverage, with full, shield, so that nothing, no punches land on us actually. When we come to a Bhagavatam class, when we come to satsang, we should become vulnerable and allow that knowledge, allow that, those punches to actually land where they're supposed to land. And that's when the transformation happens. That's when there is a overcoming of this idea of mamata and raga. Mamata is attachment. Mamata is me and mine, right? And raga is mamata is a concept of ego, which is me and mine, and raga is a concept of attachment to what is me and mine, basically. So when we come to satsang, satsang hits at that. What is your understanding of mamata and your raga? And satsang is such an association that you bleed. Sorry, you get hurt without actually bleeding. So when you go out of satsang, everything is fine. But actually, there's a lot of bloodshed that has happened, in satsang. Heavy surgery that has happened. And this is such a surgery that when you go out, everything seems fine. But inside you're bleeding like anything. Because that's when the bad blood goes out. That's when all the bad, notions and bad belief systems and bad, thought processes go out. And then you will experience a more purer way of thinking, a purer way of living, and a purer way of behaving. The spiritual master helps us experience the process of overcoming all these shortcomings of our life. What's the time? 9:30. Okay. Spoken too much. We're supposed to speak till what time? 9:30. Okay. So the spiritual master, he helps us understand the idea of giving up in a very interesting way. The process of dana, when you give charity, there is a very interesting way in which we give charity. First, you give away the object. Suppose you're giving some rice or some land or some money, wealth in charity. First, you give that object away. Then you separate your attachment from that object. Means you give up the mamata of that object, right? Suppose you give a car in charity to the temple. So the object first comes to the temple. And then you separate your attachment from that object. Every time you see that car, you should not think, my car. So you separate yourself from being attached to that object. And then you give up the thought that I give. So these are three stages of donation. First you give the physical object, and then you give up the thought that I give. You give up the thought that this is mine, And then you give up the thought that I give. That's when donation is complete. That's when charity is complete, basically. So till you keep thinking that I give, the charity is not complete. A lot of people give donation and they want their nameplate to be put over there permanently. So that so somewhere we are stuck with that thought that this is mine. You know. So this when the spiritual master gives us the real charity, the spiritual master gives is faith in the holy name. This is the biggest thing the spiritual master gives. Other than that, spiritual master takes away a lot from us. Takes away our attachments, takes away our ego, takes away our shortcomings, takes away all our struggles. He takes away a lot from us. But then he gives us back one thing, and that is faith in the holy name. And that faith in the holy name is so very important for us to develop over a lifetime. It is not easy to develop faith in the holy name. But when we keep studying from the great teachers, and when we keep understanding the whole way in which the spiritual master is trying to inspire us, slowly we start developing faith in the holy name. Lord Shiva, when he was constantly chanting the holy name of Ram, in this famous verse, Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame, Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanani. Lord Shiva speaks this. So one day Lord Shiva was called to drink that poison from the Samudra Manthan. So when Lord Shiva drank the poison from the Samudra Manthan, everyone was shocked. And the sages, they asked Lord Shiva, how did you deal with this poison? So much of poison that came from the milk ocean. Lord Shiva said, I consumed this dangerous poison, which is called vish. But in my throat, there was already Ram Nam there. And because Ram Nam was there in my throat, when I consumed this vish, it combined together with the Ram Nam and it became Vishram. Vishram means peaceful. So all of us, we are dealing with the poison of this world. There's so much of poison, so much of negativity that we are all dealing with. But if we have the holy name within us, if we have constant access to the holy name, if we are constantly sheltered under the holy name, inspired by the spiritual master, then the holy name helps us deal with the effects of all the negative energy that comes into our life, and we will not experience the negative energy. Will not be affected by the negative energy, but rather we'll be in a particular position where we are able to overcome the negative energy that comes into our life. And therefore the mood in which one should chant the holy name as given by the spiritual master is very very important and very very deep. So the spiritual master helps us develop faith in the holy name through his personal example. When we actually see how the great devotees of the Lord are experiencing taste in chanting the holy names of the Lord, they are experiencing great relish in discussing the pastimes of the Lord. They are experiencing great faith in the Holy Scriptures. Then slowly we realize that maybe I can also do it. So when we come to the classes of great souls, and when we hear their classes, words that come out from their mouth, we experience Krishna there, right? Of course, you can read Bhagavatam on your own, but you will not experience even 1/4 of what you come to a satsang and experience, isn't it? Because for the Bhagavatam to be able to actually affect your heart should be in a state where it is able to assimilate. But in the beginning stages of our spiritual life, we are, our the fruit of bhakti is not ripened, and therefore we don't experience the taste in the Bhagavatam. We don't experience taste in the holy names. But as we come to satsang, over a period of time, slowly and slowly and slowly, steadily, satsang has the effect of ripening our devotion, ripening our experience of bhakti, and giving us the right environment for our devotion to grow and fructify into something very, very beautiful. Of course, for that to happen, we have to be vulnerable. We have to be in the right mood, in the right consciousness. We have to come with an open heart, and we should allow the surgery to happen. But if we are going to come guarded, and if we are going to come with a closed heart, and if we are going to come, with our shield around us, you might come over here and be in the satsang, but the satsang will not affect you as much. There's this. I'll end with this last little story. um, there is this story of Gokarna and Dundukari, which is mentioned in the Puranas, where there was one great sage who had a wife who was very, very difficult, and this sage was losing hope, and somehow he went to the forest and he decided to commit suicide. That time he came across a sage who gave him a mango and told him, "Give this mango to your wife. You will have a very nice child." So this person comes back, gives a mango to his wife. His wife doesn't eat the mango. She cuts the mango into two. She gives one half to her sister, and one half she feeds it to a cow. Both of them become pregnant. The cow gives birth to a boy who has the ears of a cow, and they call him Gokarna. And her sister gives birth to a son whose name is Dundukari. Gokarna becomes an exalted devotee, and Dundukari becomes a demon, totally. And eventually, Dundukari gets into all kinds of bad activities and becomes a total atheist. And eventually, Dundukari dies because of some people killing him, basically. And when Dundukari dies, he comes as a ghost to his brother, Gokarna, and tells him, "You are such a good devotee. Please deliver me from this ghostly body." Gokarna then decides to find out how to deliver his brother from such a ghostly existence. Then he comes to know about the Bhagavatam. So then he calls the whole village and he tells them, "We're going to recite Bhagavatam for the benefit of my brother." And eventually, this Dundukari tells him as a ghost that if I'm getting liberated, I'll break one branch of a twig of a tree and I'll go. Then you will know that I'm liberated. So then they recite Bhagavatam for many days. And on the last day of reciting Bhagavatam, this Dundukari gets liberated and he goes back to the spiritual world. Gokarna has a doubt now. His doubt is, I recited Bhagavatam and so many people heard it. Why only one fellow went back to Godhead? All others are here only. They didn't go back to Godhead. And at that time, Suryadev, his spiritual master, he tells him a very interesting point, which is what I'll conclude today's session with. He says, Shravanam is equal, but Mananam is not equal. When everyone hears, their hearing is equal. Everybody is hearing from same sound system. Everybody is hearing from the same person. Everybody is hearing the same words. But after that, what you do is not equal to everybody. After Shravanam, the next stage is called Mananam. Mananam is contemplation. Contemplation is what makes Shravanam go deeper. Most people do first class Shravanam, but then they don't do Mananam. And because they don't do Mananam, it goes from here, comes out from here. But when you do Mananam, it goes from here and it goes into the heart. So the moment you enhance your Mananam, your experience of Krishna will enhance. The spiritual master's role is to help us enhance our Mananam. And when we enhance our Mananam, then we can go to the third stage, which is Nididhyasanam. Nididhyasanam is applying what we contemplate on. If you have not contemplated only, it is very difficult to apply. And therefore, whenever you hear any class, whenever you read anything, whenever you try to absorb any spiritual, subject, it is very important to think first and then discuss. And then you can apply what you have thought and discussed. And that's when it goes really deep into your heart and it becomes a part of you. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any quick questions or comments? Yes, sir.
Very discussion. So yes, you mentioned that very likely that when we are in satsang, we come to an association of devotees. Naturally, the experience becomes we can feel what we are hearing and we can connect more. But on the other hand, when we are reading, we may not feel the same. Sometimes we feel, sometimes we not feel. It may take some time. But at the same time, reading is very important. So, what steps can be taken so that the reading, the time of reading, can really go deep into the heart?
One thing that has been, at least what I feel is very useful, is before you start reading, offer some sincere prayers to the scripture, to the book that you're planning to read. Because all these scriptures are personalities and they can choose to reveal themselves or not. So when we approach them as a book, it will remain a book only. But when you approach them as personifications of these divine personalities, they will reciprocate. So I have found prayers before reading very useful and very powerful way of connecting with that scripture. The second thing that I found very useful is when you read something, um, you immediately think of sharing it with somebody else. So usually what I do is whatever I read, I come and give classes. And it really helps me go much deeper in what I'm reading, because what happens is when you read, your processing is at one level. But when you know that you have to speak what you have read, your processing is at a different level only, much deeper. And then when you read and you have spoken and you decide to write it down, it goes to another level. That's one of the reasons I write. Whether it benefits others or not, it benefits me. Because it just helps me go so much deeper into what I'm reading, basically. So, and you have to find your own ways of doing it, basically. Different people, different things work. But at least these three things that I mentioned might help you, go deeper.
Absolutely, very grateful. And also, I like that very much you mentioned that how that when you become vulnerable, then the transformation happens. So yes, I feel like when I go and disclose my heart to a senior exalted devotee, then definitely I see that because it's like I'm openly putting it out. This is my weakness and I want to work out. However, the same thing, I mean, it happens to some extent, but not to the same extent that it happens when one-to-one. So, can you comment?
So when I said being vulnerable, I'm not specifically talking about going and revealing your heart to anybody, but I am talking more about being ready to receive the knowledge in your heart. See, I don't know if you have experienced this. Different times when I go to a satsang, I go in different moods. Sometimes I go in a mood that I want to really absorb a lot. And sometimes I go in the mood that I have to sit and hear a lecture. Right? So there are different moods in which we go for satsang, basically. Depending on how much intense we are for and how eager we are for being there and being attentive and being absorbing as much as we can, the effect of satsang is very different. The same lecture can have different effects on you only at different times. I don't know if you have experienced this. You hear the same lecture, but you're in two different moods. It has totally different effects. So now, who is responsible? Is the person who's speaking responsible? It's me. So that's why I'm saying if we are more vulnerable, the knowledge will affect us more. It will inspire us more. So that's what I meant, basically. Yes.
So my question is, you said you said about the devotees who think that they have nothing also, they have some ego. So you were talking about the false ego. You were talking about false ego, and devotees who have pride also like false. So in this regard, actually, from Srila Prabhupada purpose in 13th chapter, Srila Prabhupada mentions that false ego means accepting his body as ourself, right? So when one understands that he is not body, so he comes to his real ego. So in this regard, sorry if I ask you a question, but how that devotees who already thinks that I don't have nothing, then how they will have the false ego?
See, even when we are nothing, we are connected to Krishna. We are servants of Krishna. That's our real identity. When we think we are nothing, we don't even remember that. That's where the false ego in play. What is real ego? Jivera Swarupohe Krishna Nityadas. That's the real ego. So the moment we think that we are very strongly connected with Krishna, we are servants of Krishna, that is when you're situated in your real ego. But if you think that you are nothing, then means we even forget that fact. That's what I was talking about, basically. Anything else? There's one back.
I have one spiritual doubt about Alanga Leela, where I heard it and I just want clarification whether my understanding is right or not. So when Lord Shiva he took that poison, so I heard that some of these followers got really pride in their heart, and that's what in Mohini would be Leela. Shiva was a Leela, but he got attracted, as if he's Wesley and apparently, things like that. So this is the reason that he wanted to prove, no, Krishna is the supreme person and I am his servant. So I heard like that, so just wanted to clarify.
See, Lord Shiva, he is one of the greatest devotees of the Lord. So when the Lord wants to use him, he is happy to be used. If the Lord wants to, make a joke out of him, he's happy to be made a joke. If the Lord wants to show in front of all his disciples that look at this person, he's so lusty, he's happy. That's why Mohini ran through all those places where Shiva disciples were all residing, basically. And all the disciples of Lord Shiva saw Shiva running behind Mohini Murti. They got bewildered. Lord Shiva is why he is called the greatest of devotees? Because he does not think about himself when it comes to the pastimes of the Lord. He is very malleable. He is very, very flexible in adjusting in the way that the Lord wants to use him. And when Lord Shiva comes as Hanumanji, he is so flexible. Lord Shiva had choice of becoming any species he wants. But he specifically chose to be a Vanar because it is one level lower than a human. So he can do more services to Lord Ram, and Lord Ram won't have hesitation to take services from him. So Lord Shiva, if you see in all the holy places, he's Dam Rakshak. He's playing the role of a watchman, literally, happy to be in that role. So the way I understand it is that he is completely happy to play the role of a villain if needed, to play the role of a subservient if needed, to play the role of somebody who is lusty if needed. Whatever role is needed to enhance the pastime of the Lord, he is ready to play. So in this particular case, Mohini Murti, was doing that particular role to bewilder, all those people And Lord Shiva was happy to be a part of that. Okay. Thank you very much. Very grateful to all of you all. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Subh Vilas Prabhu ji ki
Yeah.